This problem will review how to calculate a payment and then how to take the payment and create an amortized table for an amortized loan. So just to review, amortized loans are those loans in which every payment is exactly the same amount. So they're acting kind of like an annuity, and that each time you're making a payment, both principal and interest are being paid. Over time, you pay less interest as your principal amount goes down, and correspondingly, you pay more in principal. So the problem that we have is that we're going to borrow $15,000 at 8%, and we're going to repay it in 3 payments. So this would be assuming an annual repayment schedule, or that you're paying 8% interest monthly, and you're paying 3 payments, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So my point being that the 8% would have to be adjusted if it were being paid on a monthly schedule normally. So we'll take a look at this just as an annual payment. So we have the loan, and loans are always present values. The number of periods has been indicated at three times, and the rate that you're paying is 8%. So from that, then we'll calculate the payment. So again, up at the top, you'll want to go to your formulas tab, the financial, and you'll want to find payment, which is abbreviated as PMT. So payment. And then we just insert the boxes. So the rate, 8%. So I'm going to click on 8%. Any of these, you can type them in as well. Just make sure you always either put 8% or 0.08. If you put 8 in, it would assume 800%. Number of periods is 3. And the present value, or the loan amount, is negative again, because we have the same problem with input outputs. So negative 15,000. And we hit OK, and it tells us that our payment is going to be $5,820.50. So then we can take that and we can create an amortization table. And it needs the 5 columns. Some people might teach a little different order, but this is the way I like it. The beginning balance of each period, the payment, which will always stay the same, and then the interest, which will vary. The amount will vary, 8% of the principal each time. And then the principal will be the remaining part of the payment that didn't go to interest. And then the ending balance is the beginning balance minus the amount you paid off on principal will equal the ending balance. So we'll start off by inserting our beginning balance. In this case is $15,000. And our payment, I'm going to do a reference, so it's equal to the payment we just calculated. Now I want this to stay the same. So typically if I would take and I would pull down on this box, what it's going to do with this kind of reference is the first time it'll be here, but the second time it pulls down it will be here, and the third time here. But I always want it to look at this cell, so we call that an absolute reference. So you can do that if you're on a Windows-based program by clicking right after you've entered the B14 an F4, a function 4 key. Okay, so on my computer I had to actually hit the function and then the 4 key. So you may have to play with it a little bit. And again, if you're on an Apple computer, it's going to be different. You can also just type it in, but what you want is you want the dollar signs before the letter and the number. So I'm going to hit an enter, and it's referencing that cell. And then when I pull down by going on this black fill handle and I just pull down, it's referencing the same cell. You see nothing has changed. So then we need to calculate how much of this payment, this $5,820, is in interest. So the way I like to do it is I put the 8% or the amount of interest above there, so I have a reference point. And then I make it equal the 8%, and again, then I use the F4 function key. Multiplied, so I put a shift 8 or the star key, times however much my balance is. So times the 15,000, and I hit enter. So this payment of $5,820.50, $1,200 of it is interest. and then the rest of it is going to be the principal. So I'm going to take, for the principal, equals the payment minus the amount that went to interest. So the principal is $4,620.50. And now I can get my ending balance. So my ending balance is equal to where I started, my beginning balance of $1,500 minus the amount that I just paid for principal, $4620.50. And so my ending balance is $10,379.50. This is how much I owe at the end of year 1, and of course at the beginning of year 2. So think of it as December 31st and January 1st, nothing really changed. So then I'm ready for my second payment. And if I've set this up right, and I have the dollar signs referencing the 8%, and it's always going to go back and look at this cell, I'm able now just to pull down. So I can pull down, and it says the second time the interest is $830. And I use, again, a pull down because now it's taking $5820.50 minus $830, means that our principal is being paid off at $4,990.14. And then again I pull down here, and we owe $5,389.95. And I can again then just pull down. I can combine these and make it a little easier. And it shows now how my $15,000 has been paid off. So that's a simple way to set up your amortization table and find your payment.